former Browns defensive back Hanford Dixon with what he sees with second-round pick Carson Schwesinger.
Thinking of this guy is a lot like JOK, meaning speed. Because you guys know that's why we like JOK, because he can rush the quarterback, he can cover people coming out of the backfield, and he was just a phenomenal athlete. This kid, he is supposed to be pretty much like JOK. So it's going to be interesting to see how this defense and everything, and see what happens.
Let's welcome in Pete Smith from the Orange and Brown Report. Pete, appreciate you joining us. Schwesinger, he's fast, but he's a bigger guy.
Yeah, I think ultimately, the Browns cross-train their linebackers in a way so they can put them anywhere. But ultimately, I think the Browns want to end up in a world where he's the long-term middle linebacker. And yes, he can play fast, and they want to use that. They want him to make plays behind the line of scrimmage. But particularly for Jim Schwartz, who wants to play that invert two, Carson Schwesinger gives you a guy who can drop back to the middle of the field and cut off some of those passes that have been deep down the field, where in years past they've had guys like Sione Takitaki and some of these other guys who just aren't equipped. Schwesinger is far bigger. He takes up more space in that area of the field to be more competitive as a pass defensive option, in addition to the fact that he has range and speed and all these other things.
I was stunned that they went defense with the first two picks. Did that shock you? And part of it is the offense needs a lot.
I was surprised that they went with Schwesinger, less so with defense with the first pick. Personally, I would have loved to have gotten Abdul Carter on the Browns, but it doesn't surprise me that they went with more defensive line. But just with how the Browns operate, picking what I would describe as a non-premium position that early in the draft was a shocker. Clearly, the JOK thing makes an impact with that decision. And then just Jim Schwartz pounding the table for wanting more credibility in the middle of his defense is something that got the Browns going. And look, Schwesinger, one-year starter, there are reasons to have concerns with what he's done to this point in his career. But in terms of production, the high-end athletic traits, and his overall intelligence, there's reason to believe he can be a stud in the middle of that defense.
Yeah, is that what do you think they were telling us as a front office when they took a defensive tackle and a linebacker? I mean, to me, it was like they thought they needed to get more tough up front in the middle.
Yeah, I think when you look at the way they approach the draft overall, you get to a point where you talk about sort of how we used to describe AFC North football. They not only take those two guys, they take a pair of running backs. They want to play a more physical brand of old school blue collar football. And given the fact they don't have a whole lot of offensive weaponry, they don't have a definitive answer at quarterback at this point. This is the way they have to play if they're going to be successful. In a lot of ways, if the Browns are going to have sort of success this season, if they're going to be playing meaningful games in December, it's because they've stolen what has been the Pittsburgh Steelers' identity. And these guys certainly signal that type of approach.